What's going on? Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome. Season Gaming Bitcast episode 111 today. I am your host, Ainsley Bowden, with this ridiculous-looking visor this week. We'll see how long this lasts. I've got Dan of Us, Part 2, the sequel. I don't know if he's as good as the original. That's up for debate.
Yeah,
it's certainly longer.
Yeah. Whoa.
Very divisive.
Yeah. You're very divisive. Yeah. Okay. All right. Suits you. All right. And joining us for the first time, I'm very happy to welcome our favorite person, not just north of the border, but close to any border, really, Mr. Nich Downie from lordsofgaming.net. Good morning, sir.
Thank you for having me on. Great to be here.
Yeah, man. It's been too long. We've been making the rounds since we started this live show. We're getting a bunch of our friends and people we know on, so we'll have to make it a more regular thing going forward. So today we're going to be talking, obviously, about Cyberpunk and the Night City Wire event that happened. We're going to be talking Avengers, Halo Infinite, lots of Halo Infinite. Got to make sure Dan gets his voices heard on Halo Infinite.
That's when I leave.
We've got Suicide Squad, Batman game rumors, Diablo 4, and of course Nick is here, so we're going to be talking some Western RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3. So, all right, let's kick this off, Nick. What we always do, new guests, man, is we're going to talk a little bit about your gaming history. Want to know where you got started? Let's start there. So where you got started in gaming, if someone specifically got you into gaming, and what was kind of like your first console or platform that you really got into?
Well, so how I basically started playing games was I was about 3 years old, and long story short, I ended up having to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. And my grandfather was huge into like PC games all the time. Cool. So he thought, well, I don't really like having to deal with my grandson all the time, so I'm going to just go ahead and here's Doom 1993. You go play that and have a good time. So basically, I started playing Doom. I started playing Wolfenstein.
Classics.
I played Red Dead Rampage when I was like 5 years old, which probably was not a good thing. Duke Nukem, all that kind of stuff. I played a lot of FPS PC games, and I played PC probably until, God, for probably a decade. I think I was like 13 when I got my first console. Like, I played consoles at my friends' places, but like my first like at-home console was a PlayStation 2. And
that's right. Yeah. I forget you're younger than us old guys over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for context for people, like I was born in '93. I was playing Doom '93.
Oh, you're a lot younger. I didn't realize it was that much of a difference.
I think I graduated in '94.
And I graduated in '96. So yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I started in PC space, and then basically as soon as I got a PlayStation 2, an original Xbox, and GameCube, I was like, I can't miss anything anymore. So basically I just started working. I started working when I was like 12 years old. I started cutting lawns and stuff so I could afford every console that came out. So like bought a 360, bought a PS3 at launch, which I don't know what in my mind where I thought $1,000 Canadian for a PS3 was a good idea. But yeah, just play everything, enjoy a lot of everything, except for...
They told you up front you're going to have to work extra hours to pay for that bad boy.
They were like, you're going to have to get a second job. I'm like, I've already got 3.
That's awesome. I knew you were younger than us. I didn't realize it was that much. Wow. My stepdaughter is older than you. That's where we're at on this show.
Oh, man.
That's awesome, though. So not quite what we would call as seasoned of a gamer, but the point being you do play and enjoy everything, which is the point, right? So yeah. Awesome. So let me ask you, in your gaming history then, and I think the series I have a good idea, but what's like been your favorite platform that you've played on? If you had to pick a console or if it's PC, what's your favorite platform?
Favorite platform? My favorite platform of all time would have to be the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Mainly because that's what got me into stealth games. I really love stealth games, and it really started with Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PlayStation 2. Because my friend had it, and I ended up stuck at his house the one summer, and he was like, "Oh, I got this God of War game, and I got this Metal Gear Solid 3." I'm like, I was like, okay, God of War, that's cool. And then I was like, why are we playing the third Metal Gear Solid? He's like, I don't think you need to play the first two to understand the third one, which do with that information what you will. But yeah, no, the PlayStation 2 was like what really got me into console gaming, so to speak. Because before that, I played PC, I played MMOs and stuff like that. I didn't really play a lot of the quote-unquote console-based games. And I really started falling in love with that and just the ease of accessibility of it all. Because like around that time was like when Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King came out and Doom 3 came out. And that was when graphics cards started going, hey, you need a $600 graphics card to play these. And I went, I don't know about this. And that's awesome. That's kind of why I gravitate towards it, because I like all my because before that I was just mainly FPS and everything else, but PlayStation 2 led me into diversifying my tastes in games, and then which led me to 360, which then led me into esports for a couple of years, and it moved, so to speak.
Well, PlayStation 2 is one of the all-time greats. I mean, there's a reason that it has the library it has, and it's the best-selling console of all time, right? So you can't go wrong with that one. Real quick shout out to chat. Good to see everyone. Good morning. All of our regular favorites are here. So what's up, guys? So Nick, if you had to pick favorite game of all time, and I thought I had an idea on this, but I'll just let you say it anyway in case I've got it wrong. Favorite game?
Baldur's Gate 2.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure. So, absolute classics. In fact, Elu, who's in the chat here and writes for us as well, we were just talking the other day about some of the great classic Western RPGs, and just those types of games, man. The writing and the character building, and obviously we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 today, but that's awesome. So. Well, awesome. Okay, so why don't we jump into it? The big topic we're going to talk about this week is Cyberpunk. So we had the Night City Wire, one of our most anticipated games. We did a weekly poll. Funny enough, I started the poll late. It occurred to me I hadn't done a poll, so I started it last night, and the thing already has nearly 1,500 votes. So basically, we kept it real simple. Will Cyberpunk 2077 be the defining game of the generation? Because as we know, I think many hold the opinion, I know myself and Dan, I don't know where you sit on this, Nick, that Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games of all time, if not the greatest game of the generation, pretty much close to hands down. So will CD Projekt Red do it again with Cyberpunk 77? And right now, more than 2/3 think yes. So nearly 70% are saying yes, with about 30% saying no. So Nick, where do you stand on, before we even get into the new information we saw this week, where do you stand on CD Projekt Red, the quality of Witcher 3, and what your expectations are for Cyberpunk?
It's actually hilarious because I've only played about 10 hours of The Witcher 3, and I thought it was amazing. And I never went back.
Liked it.
But if you want a kicker of this, is I've beaten the original Witcher, the first one on PC, and The Witcher 2 probably about 10 times each.
Okay. Wow, then what's stopping you from Witcher 3?
The goddamn time investment is stopping me. It's the whole problem when you're like, you know what? This month I'm going to play The Witcher 3. And then someone's like, hey, here's a review code for this. I'm like, oh, damn it. No. Okay. But no, CD Projekt Red's world building is what makes them class act, is because The Witcher 3 changed open world game design. And what I mean by that is by the quest design. Every quest kind of affected and changed the world. And before, I think Skyrim was kind of the level everyone measured Western RPGs to for a long time. Fair. And because of how massive the world was and everything else. But with The Witcher 3, they really stopped focusing on how big can we make this world, and more focused on how can we make this world feel more lived in and believable. And I think that's where Cyberpunk's going to be really amazing, because they talk about scale and everything else. They're not doing the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this is the biggest map ever. They're like, this is good. This map's going to be around the size of The Witcher 3, but we're working on making it more dense, which is something that I think is really interesting about open world design, because that's my biggest complaint with Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto 5 is a great game and everything else. It's got a big open world, but 90% of the world you can't interact with.
True.
And I think with Cyberpunk, you're going to see the most interactive world we've ever seen in an open world game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So you're back on board. We will overlook the 10 hours of play. You're back in. Good to see you guys. Elu said Morrowind always gets overlooked. Not by us, man. Morrowind is an absolute all-time classic. All-time classic. I preferred Morrowind tenfold over Oblivion, in my opinion, but that's a whole nother topic.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So Cyberpunk Night City Wire we got this week. So we got a 25-minute or so stream. We got maybe, I don't know what it was, 7, 8, 10 minutes or whatever of new gameplay. Primarily of which was this brain dance thing they showed, which Dan and I were chatting while watching it, and we were just sitting there like, this is nuts and bonkers what this is going to bring to the game. So before we get to the gameplay, though, I've got to talk about character customization because I thought this was really funny. So if you haven't been paying close attention, there's going to be highly customizable characters, your V, if you will, in Cyberpunk. And so they released some information this week, and I'm going to throw it up on the screen here because there's some funny things we'll talk through. So here are some of the things you can customize your character with. And I'm not going to read through all of these. What's up, Dan? You just hiding under the pubic hair? I like it.
Right here. Oh,
so not only can you kind of customize every aspect of your body, including makeup, teeth, nipples, body tats, scars, ears, jaws, mouths, all that stuff. For those guys in the chat, there are 2 dick types. Now, the interesting thing here is that keep in mind it also says dick size options, meaning if you can already change the size, what are the 2 dick types?
It's got to go like curvature, right? Yeah.
Correct.
It's like it shoots off to the left.
Are we talking like circumcised and uncircumcised? Like, is that what we're getting into here?
That's a good point, Nick. That is a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Wonder why you haven't thought about that.
I don't often sit around thinking about dick types, to be honest. Not more than 10 minutes a day, at least. But this is just goes to show, right? We're talking about detailed Western RPGs and the detail and depth at which a company like CD Projekt Red goes into. And when they're putting this much focus into something as trivial as a dick type, and I know we keep saying dick, which is just great for this family-friendly stream we got here. But when they put that much detail into something so trivial, right, that's not going to impact probably anything in the game. I bet you it will somehow.
It's going to impact something.
if they're giving you dick detail, you're going to see that.
That's true. Well, and I think they've said that, right? Like graphic, sex, and other things are going to be in the game. But my point being is that just imagine the depth that they're, the lengths that they're going to in the rest of the game, which kind of speaks to what you were talking about, Nick, right? It's from a world building perspective, and the depth at which we're going to see the design of the city and the missions in particular is going to be, in my opinion, it's going to set a new bar for the industry. I purely foresee Cyberpunk. I was about to say foreskin. I don't know why. Foresee Cyberpunk being the defining game of the generation in many ways, and really kind of setting that bar heading into next gen. So, Dan, where are you at on this?
I mean,
what kind of dick type you going with?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen mine for 3 years. I can't see that. So, I'll probably embellish a little bit. Maybe have some, dreads or something down there. I don't know. We'll see but it's hard for me to say that it's going to be that defining game without, knowing that you've got The Witcher 3 still. This should be better. You've got Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes. Which in my opinion, I think in both our opinions, Dan, in terms of world, yes, I think Red Dead 2 is the greatest ever made.
Objectively, right now, I mean, I think that game is just heads and shoulders beyond anything else that's ever come out.
Environmentally, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and not to interrupt you again, but I've had to approve like 8 messages in chat because they keep getting blocked, which I think is hilarious. So just keep at it, guys. I'll keep approving them.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it is. I talked about this last week. And in my old Twitter, the Twitter account I came back to now. That was my. If there was a game that I had to end my gaming career on, just based on that 45-minute showing they had at E3 last year, I mean, that would be it. It looks so good, and everything we saw this week. I mean, I watched a couple of the, influencers or whatever, talk about it. We were super excited. So I haven't heard really anything bad. And we know they delayed it. If as long as it comes out this gen, it'll probably be the game of the gen. I know it'll play on this gen. It's just a matter of
yeah. Well, someone asked about that. Is this considered a this generation game? And the fact is, they've said clearly this game was designed for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So
yeah,
it's a this generation game.
This is number one. It's been, since it was released, it's been my number one most anticipated game, and it will continue to be that way until it comes out in 2052. So I'm ready for it, man.
Nice. So, Nick, did you check out? Did you have a chance to watch Night City Wire? Did you have you kind of checked out some of these streams? How interested are you in Cyberpunk?
I'm insanely interested in it, only for the simple reason is something we always like. Something is an industry we always talk about is devs stagnating and repeating the same steps. This developer does third-person games. This developer does first-person games. To come off The Witcher 3 and then go, we're going to make an FPS open-world game like that, that's really interesting to me because that shows a large set of balls, which are customizable. But no, I've kind of gone dark on it a bit because I'm to the point now. It's kind of like where I was with Doom Eternal. I've seen enough. I know I'm day one. Yeah. I don't really want to see much else because I kind of want to just dive into it and just be absolutely shocked by the level of detail. And that's worked really well for me for the past couple of games that have come out this year. It's just kind of absorbing what I know, gauging my interest, and then just kind of going dark on it to just kind of go in surprise on, oh, I didn't see that. So it's like, oh, that was in a trailer. I'm like, haha, I didn't see that.
I got you. So let's touch on this brain dance thing. So if you missed the stream, this brain dance is essentially like a, what's the easiest way to describe this, guys? It's like a very, very detailed surveillance.
Human, really?
Say it again?
Like the Detroit Become Human, like investigation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's similar to that, but it looks
even more detailed, it seems like, right?
For sure.
Yeah, it's almost like a Skynet level surveillance system that you can use yourself to basically investigate, it sounds like, crimes and missions, and you'll be using it frequently from what they said. So, yeah, this looked really, really intense. I can only imagine, given the detail at which they were talking about the quest and what's going to be going on, I can only imagine how players are going to be able to use this in terms of gameplay. And I fully expect CDPR to kind of think about this in very interesting ways.
Man, I'm ready for it, man. I mean, that thing, it looks like there's 3 different layers to it. There's, the way they showed that whole scene going on. I mean, I could see it becoming a little bit confusing, and maybe a little bit, I don't want to say like immersion breaking a little bit. I mean, but if they do it right and it's intuitive, I think it'll be really cool. I mean, I love that kind of investigative kind of stuff, and it's one of my favorite parts of Detroit. So hopefully they do it well and they give it some beef. Beef.
So I'm like clicking all over the place here. Sorry, guys. What was I going to say? Nick, any other thoughts on what you saw here this week, or as you anticipate? Are you at this point, like you said, you are done? You're going on blackout?
Yeah, I have a friend that works on this game, so I'm a little biased when it comes to this game. Okay. And I can't wait for people to see some things. There's some things they haven't shown yet that they're not going to show that are going to blow people away in a really big way in terms of animation fidelity and how the world's going to operate and how you're going to be able to interact with this world. There's some stuff they haven't talked about yet. I don't know if they're going to talk about. And it's really exciting because usually when you see a new game come out, it pushes one thing. So like, this is the best thing that we did at this. But with Cyberpunk, they're really trying to go in a bunch of different directions of how far can we push the envelope on everything. And I think that's really interesting. And even if they don't hit all the points amazingly, I will give them nothing but credit for trying, because I find a lot of games just play it way too safe.
Sure.
With stuff, and they seem to be taking genuine risks. So I'm there 100%. I got that collector's edition on pre-order since they announced it back in whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, and they've got 4 different, for someone like me, right? There's a Steelbook collector. They've got 4 different Steelbooks. One's in the collector's edition, and then there's 3 other ones you can get by pre-ordering at companies like Best Buy. So I went ahead and pre-ordered 5 copies, and and I plan on just kind of taking back the copies and just making sure I get all the steelbooks because I'm a maniac. So, but yeah, I'm with you. The collector's edition looks fantastic, and the Witcher 3 collector's edition is one of the best I've ever seen. So I have full faith in that as well. See, CD Projekt Red just does quality. I mean, the games are quality, their collectibles are quality. It's just what they do. There's a reason that their market wealth, or their market cap, excuse me, has been escalating like mad, and they're now worth what, $8 billion, something like that.
Yeah, they're worth more than all of the Ubisoft studios in Europe, which is
which is nuts, right? And really, when you really think, they just have Witcher.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone knows the anticipation for Cyberpunk, but to this point, it's just been built around Witcher, which is nuts. All right. So Night City Wire, this was episode 1. They did say the next episode's coming in just a few weeks. So I think, this is going to be a consistent thing that we see over the next few months leading up to launch, which is pretty cool. And before we even move on from Cyberpunk, I want to give a quick shout out to this girl because she looked awesome.
he chewed on this damn video, dude.
But if you were watching the live stream, the animation on her and just things like her eyes, she looked real. It was really, really incredible. Which is, something playing The Last of Us 2. I kind of complimented Naughty Dog on the cinematics and just how good they are in that game. So it's neat to see something like that in Cyberpunk as well. So, all right. Yeah, see, HR says her hair and eyes. Yeah, we could keep going on that girl, but we'll leave it alone. She's not even real, for God's sake, so we're going to move on. All right, so let's talk Avengers. This is a game, very long time coming. Crystal Dynamics, they've been working on this for years now. And this is one we talked about previously when we saw the gameplay that I think a lot of people, there's a lot of excitement around this game, but there's also a lot of, I feel like, caution around this game of kind of noticing some things that don't look just right. And so I'm not a big Marvel guy. We've talked about this. I'm not really interested in this game too much, but I do like following its development to see how it's coming along and what it looks like. And so this week we got the War Table stream. This was a long kind of deep, kind of like a deep dive on the game, which showed us a lot more of it, right? Gameplay, character customization, some of the comic book and history kind of homages they're making, which is pretty cool. Mission design, all those things. So first things first, did you guys check this stream out? Did you watch all of this?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. How, Nick, you into this? Are you into kind of Avengers Marvel stuff? Are you looking forward to this game?
I like some of the Marvel movies. They're okay, but like I wouldn't consider myself like a massive Marvel fan. And there's just something with this game that makes me feel weird about it. I don't know what it is, but there's just something where I'm just like as you said, overtly cautious about it, and I don't know why. I like Crystal Dynamics. I like Marvel. But there's just something that's making me go, I get like Anthem vibes from it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, see, Dan, we didn't even have to bring up Anthem. Our guest did this week. It's awesome.
Thanks, Nick.
We joke, Nick, that no matter what, it's been, a year and a half since Anthem came out, and I don't think we've gone an episode without mentioning it yet. It just always comes up in one way or another. But I think you're right, and that's kind of my point, is that when you get a good look at it, and if you're like us who look at games and play games and talk about games day in, day out, every day, you start to get a feel for how a game is being developed, how it's progressing, right? So you watch Cyberpunk, you listen to CD Projekt Red, you look at things like The Witcher 3, you have a good feel for what Cyberpunk's going to deliver and the quality it's going to deliver. When I look at Avengers, I don't get that same feeling. I think there's going to be some hiccups here. I don't think it's going to launch in the best state. And I think given the timeline and what we've seen, there's obviously been some problems in development as well. So, but I don't know. Dan, what did you think of watching this?
Well, here's the thing. It's the biggest thing for me is going to be the fact that this is going to be full of microtransactions. I mean, they
already mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're just like, you kind of, this is all real money stuff. So like one of the digital editions comes with like 1,000 star points or whatever the hell they're called.
Oh, here we go.
So maybe
you can transfer your remaining Anthem points over.
That's what I was hoping, since I have like $40 worth of freaking Anthem just sitting there. And I check, it's funny because I check it every once in a while. I think I follow somebody on Twitter and I'm like, okay, let's see what they got. Nope, all garbage, still garbage. I'm just looking for like one skin that I can just say, get it out of here, so I can, say, hey, I spent my money and now it's worth it. But this one, I'm a huge Marvel guy. I'm a huge Avengers fan. I'm not a big Kamala Khan guy, but like Miss Marvel, the main character. But
I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's got I don't know, I don't say she's niche because she's got a very, very big following, in the comic book world, but and she's an interesting character to go through this with. But it looks like you play through it as her through the main story. Other missions will pop up where you play, say, like they show the Thor one where he comes in,
yes.
or so that's cool. If they were to continue to put more missions out, add more characters, and make this, they could do it. But like you guys, there's something about it. It's just, it's wrong.
The thing that really turned me off was during that live stream, they did a thing and they were like, this is your skill tree and these are your levels for upgrading. And the amount of skill tree points and the amount of levels for just one character in a game that's talking about you play as 8 or 9, I'm like, there's no way you guys have mission variety enough for me to level up these characters. I'm going to end up playing the same missions over and over again. That's, I think, the thing that worries me the most is how repetitive is this going to be? And they're really doing a terrible job at selling this game. Is this a game you purely play with your friends? Is this a game that you can purely enjoy by yourself? Like, it feels like Warframe, except they don't want us to compare it to Warframe.
That's fair.
Which again would go back to design and developmental issues, right? Which could speak to the timeline and kind of debates maybe internally with the team of direction. They mentioned that co-op mode that you can play with 4 friends, which is like it's just like it sounded more like a horde type mode that you can play. But they haven't, to your point, they haven't really talked about game length or how many missions there are single player, what that looks like, which at this point is kind of strange.
Yeah, I would hope that they come out with some more information about that. I mean, it doesn't matter because I already pre-ordered it. Like a fool. I'm this whole 2020 thing. I'm just going to basically order stuff that people have like the licensing for the marketing for from now on. So I just got it on the PS4.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So like Valhalla will go on the Xbox because you're going to get a little bit of bonuses here and there from just all that kind of stuff.
So it's working on you.
Yeah, it's totally working. I mean, I'm tired of waiting a month or two to play DLC for Control, right? So I bought it on the PlayStation. I played through it. Now I own it on both of them. But I hate that kind of stuff.
It's very frustrating.
So now I'm just going to just dive in head first. So this one's going to be on the PS4. I'm going to be playing it on there, and we'll see how it goes. I might not have anybody to play with, except for PlayStation Bra. Well, but even maybe not even him. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm not like Anthem level hyped because
never get that hyped again.
No. Yeah, it was so bad that when I fart now, like you don't hear anything coming out. That's how bad that hype was. That's how bad I got reamed on that stupid thing.
That took me a second to get there where you were going with that.
No worries.
But yeah, one thing I do think, and Dan, I'll get your comments since I know you're a big kind of comic fan, Marvel fan. One thing that I did think was cool was how they were showing some of the kind of mission. It's not really like the full quest design, but somehow some of the missions kind of relate to classic comic book stories. And they showed what comic it was from and what year and stuff, as well as you can unlock outfits from specific times and eras for characters. The disappointing thing, of course, as you said, is, some are unlocked in single player, some are unlocked through progression, but they very clearly said that some are going to be, you have to buy them, which, as well as I do, usually what happens in that case is the best ones, the most classic ones, are the ones you have to buy. So we'll see how dirty it is.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, I'm fully expecting this to be a $120 game when I'm all done with it. So
I also think, too, is the wow factor was kind of lost on this game because since we got God of War 2018, Thor throwing his hammer around like that was just like, okay.
Yeah.
We did this 2 years ago. If that had come out pre-God of War, people would have lost their minds, I think.
Yeah.
Because the whole boomerang technology with the hammer and the combos, that looked really cool, but I'm like, I kind of already have done this before.
It's probably not even going to feel as good as God of War either.
Yeah, no,
Zero chance. Zero chance that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is next gen upgrade. I think they said they were going to upgrade it for both PlayStation and Xbox One.
So yeah, I know they said that it's playable. Like you'll get your upgrade for free, but I don't know what the upgrade entails.
Yeah, I
right?
don't know.
Like what are they doing to it?
Supposedly, it's supposed to take it. I use corporate PR quotations. The upgrade will use the full power of both systems.
Of course it will. Yeah, of course it will.
In terms of SSD and power, and I'm like, okay, so which one though?
We're not even getting into that. All right. HR Bomber says you need my shirt. Hey man, this is directly from CD Projekt Red. They should be in stock. They just updated their store the other day, actually. And honestly, I've ordered. You guys know I wear a different game shirt like every week. The shirts from CD Projekt Red are ridiculously high quality.
Yeah, they are. Is that the one you got me from E3?
Yeah.
Same one.
Yeah, I mean it's super high quality. So if you really like Cyberpunk or Witcher and you want shirts, order it from them. Don't order like eBay shit. Order it directly from CDPR.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about Dan's favorite topic. Well, first I have to pose the question to Nick. We're going to move on to Halo Infinite because we got the first kind of tease, obviously leading into Xbox's July event where Halo Infinite is expected to be kind of, the premier title, right? Because it's their blockbuster for launch. Nick, are you a Halo person?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I know we're in good hands. I've got to check my guests ahead of time to make sure we can always outnumber Dan. Then they'll be in good shape.
That's not hard.
We'll see.
All right, so
I'll go against Dan just for the sake of going against Dan.
True.
We're gonna have you on more often, Nick. All right. So Halo Infinite, we got our first tease this week out of nowhere. It was one of those they just dropped a minute-long kind of voice tease on Twitter, and very clearly pointed out that Atriox and the Banished, who, if you played Halo Wars 2, are familiar with some of the graphic novels and the Halo lore. Kind of big players there. So Halo Infinite takes place just after Halo 5 in timeline. And it's clear now that the Brutes and the Banished, if you will, are going to play a role in this, which is incredibly exciting, I think, for most Halo fans, because they didn't really know where Infinite was going to go directly, despite the end of Halo 5 kind of leaving it open. But Halo 5, regarded by many Halo fans as one of the worst campaigns. So anyway, I thought this was really exciting. Atriox is an incredible kind of antagonist type character, very kind of big, powerful, the type of battle you'd like to see, Chief and the crew go up against. So without a doubt, we're going to see this game probably in full here in a couple of weeks. But Nick, did this get you kind of pumped? Did you play Halo Wars 2? Were you a fan of that, or you prefer kind of the main?
Yeah, no, Halo Wars 2 is the best Halo game that's come out this generation of consoles. Like,
Man, I'm with you, buddy.
Atriox, like I played through Halo Wars 2 just on the fact my friends like you need to play it just for Atriox if you're not a huge strategy fan. I'm a huge strategy fan, so it was a win-win situation.
Nice.
But I finished that game and I went, it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't use him in a main game.
No doubt.
Because like it was one of the best, like Halo Wars 2 is probably one of the better Halo stories in terms of writing. And I sat there and went, now we just need to transition that to the mainline Halo series. I thought it solved a lot of issues people had with like 343's writing of some of the games, especially with 5. And I thought it was a great opportunity. And to see them take advantage of it really makes me happy because it really gives credence to the fact that they are listening to what their fans want.
Yeah, no doubt. And I might have known this and forgot it, but I didn't realize that there's two people that have been writing Halo Infinite. One who's been at 343 and it was part of the crew on Halo Wars 2, but also the Batman Arkham City lead writer is the other guy writing Halo Infinite. Which I haven't played, but everyone I've talked to said the story was awesome. And so this is, to your point, I think between who we know is writing this game, how important 343 knows the narrative is for this game, and the fact now that we know Atriox and the Banished are going to be in this game, I think we're in for a real treat.
Yeah, are we talking about something else?
I do have a button that says remove from stream.
Listen, I agree with Nick. Halo Wars 2 was excellent. I played, I'm still only halfway through. It's on my one of my list to finish. I'm actually probably a little bit farther than that. The story is great so far. The cinematics in it, I think, were some of the best I've seen in a while, especially for
that's Blur Studio, man. They're brilliant.
It's nuts. I mean, this is it's basically an RTS, and it's got better cinematics than a lot of games that are supposed to have these amazing cinematics. So it was awesome. Like the first part, just the opening was incredible. So I'm excited to play the single player campaign. I'm not gonna lie, it looks I always play them. So I just will never touch the multiplayer because I have no patience for it. There are so many people that play it though. I mean, it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge.
It's going to be massive. Yeah, it's going to be massive.
Yeah, as long as they come out and it works good and everything's high and tight, we're good to go, buddy.
I wanted to shout out some people. So I saw Megatron stopped in. Jordan, take off, man. Thanks for stopping by as always. And Chris is in the house. Fastback, what's up, man? So yeah, I think it goes without saying. I talk about Halo all the time. It's my favorite series. I am ridiculously excited for this game, and hearing what we're hearing, I think Halo 5's multiplayer was incredible, and I think that it's widely kind of accepted that the multiplayer they already had kind of down. So between a tremendous campaign, hopefully an infinite new multiplayer, and we'll have to see, of course, what they do with multiplayer, because with Battle Royale being such a big genre, they've kind of tiptoed around that. Sometimes they said they're not interested in it. Other times they kind of hint at it. We'll see what they deliver. But, yeah, I could not be more excited. I think the only thing that drives me crazy that I realized this week now is November, between the end of October and November now means we're going to get Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk, and Halo all within a few weeks of each other. And to me, that's just, I don't know how I'm going to manage to get any work done.
That's going to suck for you, but not for me.
Oh, Valhalla and Cyberpunk alone for you.
Yeah, that'll be terrible. But, Halo will be like a nice, hopefully 10 to 15 hours. And guess what I'm
better stop it. Cortana is judging you behind me, wherever she is.
You should, yeah.
All right. So Mariano Pampa, thanks, man, for the $5 super chat. Says, hey guys, great topics. Glad I could catch it live. What would you guys like to see in Halo Infinite? So for me personally, we kind of just touched on it, right? I really want the campaign to be meaningful. Everything we're hearing about it sounds really good. To me, Halo 4 was a brilliant campaign. I loved seeing the kind of humanization of Chief and his relationship with Cortana. I hope they get back to some of that. Really didn't care for where they went with Cortana in Halo 5, so we'll see what happens there. But I really want a meaningful campaign that makes me feel kind of attached to Chief again, because they really screwed that up in Halo 5, in my opinion, after 4. Multiplayer, just do bring what your expertise in Halo 5, bring that forward to 2020. Give us new modes, make sure it's polished to a damn T, and everything runs smoothly. But as long as it's very competitive, I'm all in. I mean, that's the game that I'll stop everything else for. So that's what I want. You guys? Dan, we kind of know you said you want a good campaign.
Yeah, that's it. That's basically all I
want. You kind of touched on everything I want too, but one thing I'd love to see them integrate, that was something great with, I think it was still technically Bungie, but Halo Reach had great tournament play interactivity within the game, and getting into esports and stuff was really easy through Halo Reach. Would love to see 343 and Microsoft kind of, because with how big esports is and how big Halo is, I'd really like to see them really push forward on the online aspect. If they're going to push forward and make a more focus on competition driven, I'd love to see them kind of raise up the pro Halo community, because as someone who was part of that for a couple of years, esports has been huge for so long, and Halo was such a huge part of esports early on. It's just so sad that while everything's been growing, it's kind of stagnated. Same thing goes with Gears of War, unfortunately. I just hope that Microsoft can see the potential in both those and deliver more, because I would love to get back into competitive SWAT play again, but we'll see what the future holds.
Sounds like we need to play more often, Nick, because I need some confident Halo players on my team.
Dan sounds like he's amazing at it, so I don't know what more you need.
Yeah. I was ranked once.
I was at the bottom, but I was ranked.
very, very bottom.
So yeah, and we didn't even really touch on PvE, right? Like Hilo mentioned, and Darren PvE. So previously we had Firefight, of course, and with Halo 5, they kind of expanded that concept of Warzone, which, in my opinion, was very well done in aspects. It had some shortcomings, but I think it was a good attempt. And they, considering this is early on in the Xbox One generation, it was a pretty broad attempt. I thought it was really cool having the custom weapons and everything else too. So it's going to be interesting to see if they bring Warzone forward and if they modify it or turn it into something else. But I really, one of the things they did mention, I love big team battle from a competitive side. And I really, big team battle was like an afterthought in Halo 5. So I'm looking forward to them fixing that with Infinite as well. So, yeah, and we won't touch on Gears, but Gears Pro League is kind of a shame. There is one, it does get broadcast, but the audience just isn't there. And Gears is a hard game to kind of get that pro aspect too, which is a shame. But anyway, moving on to something you can talk about more, Dan. So Suicide Squad and Batman games. So some of the most kind of long rumored games in production or development for a while now. Is what has Rocksteady been up to? Because almost like Crystal Dynamics, it's like they've supposedly been working on something for years and years, and we still haven't seen it. And they just keep saying, we'll show you soon, and then they never show anything. And we know that a Batman game is coming as well. So the latest information that came out this week was that in DC Fandom on August 22nd, which we talked about last week, we're going to see 2 new games from the DC universe. The first is titled Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that's the game that's being made by Rocksteady. So, the fact that Rocksteady is, very highly regarded and they could do something like a Suicide Squad game has obviously a massive amount of potential. And then the other game is supposedly titled Gotham Knights. And this is the one that's being made by WB Montreal, who made the...
Origins, wasn't it? Origins?
Yes, thank you. Yes, Origins. Yes, the one outside of that trilogy. That is still very highly regarded, as I understand it anyway. I haven't played all these. So I think this is really exciting. I know that people are really looking forward to these games. So, Nick, I don't know where you stand on kind of the comic games, especially the DC ones. Are you big into these like Batman games, the Batman trilogy and Origins and stuff?
Oh yeah, like the Arkham trilogy was like my favorite superhero video game of all time in terms of that, and like Rocksteady's absolutely fantastic in their world building. As long as they lock Jared Leto out of the building in a Suicide Squad game, we'll be good. We'll be fine. Everything will be okay. As long as they don't try, I swear to God, if we get a Suicide Squad game that's the DC parallel of the Marvel's Avengers game, I'm going to be so incredibly sad. It's got co-op. It's got microtransactions. It's, oh no.
Yeah. It might
have a focus. Yeah. So Dan, you guys go ahead because I'm going to pull the Halo Dan card on this one. I'll just sit back and let you guys talk.
Well, that's good. All right. So Rocksteady, I wish these games were like flipped. Because I never played Origins, so I can't really speak on it too much. But I did play the Arkham series. It's one of my favorite comic book series. I don't know if they were aware that the Suicide Squad movie actually came out and then it sucked, but apparently they aren't. So I don't know what they're trying to do here. I'm not a huge Suicide Squad guy. I'm generally not a big DC guy, but Batman is amazing. So I was really hoping Rocksteady was working on a new Batman game. But we'll see what WB Montreal does. I have no idea. I'm probably going to buy them both and then be upset. If they do the microtransaction route, I might actually not buy them. Mark it down.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe you, Dan. There's no game you don't buy. If it's if it's a big game, Dan's bought it.
More than likely. Yeah, I want a new Batman game. I want to see what they have. Hopefully, it'll be they incorporate it somehow in the Suicide Squad game. I don't, nobody knows what it is, so it's kind of hard to judge it. But just based on the what it's about,
My only wish at this point is that Rocksteady would stop teasing it. I started writing about video games 3 years ago, and every E3 I have a teaser from them about what they've been working on. I'm so sick of writing Rocksteady teases new game. Like literally in the times I've covered games, and it's only been 3 years, they've supposedly been doing a Superman game. Yeah. There was a time where people thought they were doing an Aquaman game, which was a weird time frame. It's a new Batman game, and now it's to a Suicide Squad game. I'm like, I'm not believing it until I see it at this point.
Yeah. Well, with the Justice League, maybe we do see some Batman, some Aquaman, some Green Lantern. Maybe, I have no idea. We'll see. But I've always thought, like, that those guys, that Justice League was so much more powerful than these Suicide Squad guys. I mean, they're all, basically just schmucks anyway. So, I mean, it's Harley Quinn is like the only one that, from the movie even, that's actually likable and enjoyable to play. So, I don't know, man. It's just give us something already, for God's sake. We got to wait another month or two.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah, come on now.
Well, and remember, this hasn't been confirmed or anything. This is just information that's come out.
Even worse.
Yeah, this is
the like third confirmed rumor I've seen where people are like, industry people are like, yes, this is definitely what they're working on, and then every time it turns out not to be the case. I'm like, can we just get concrete information? Like, there's even a rumor I saw, I think it was like 4 months ago, that in late 2019 they took the entire game back to the drawing board again. So it's like, are we gonna just get the first could you imagine if they reveal something in like August and they're like, yeah, this will come in 2021? Do you know how unimaginably pissed people are gonna be to have to wait another like year and a half for Rocksteady to make a game? Because it's been 5 years now since Arkham Knight.
Yeah,
come on.
So come on. A lot of expectations at this point.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, we could very well go past the August event and still not really know, which would be crazy because then we're basically getting into next generation, right? We're still not knowing. So we'll see. We will see. Bad Bit, what's up, man? Walter, good to see you. All right, let's talk about some Western RPGs. So this week we got what they're calling a quarterly update on Diablo 4's development. So this is a game that from a release date standpoint is another one where, Blizzard does their own thing, right? This game will come out when it comes out. But the development update wasn't too deep really, but it did give us a little insight to some things that I thought were interesting. So it's got a partial open world design, which I think kind of freaks everyone out when they first hear it. But if you actually read their update, they said they're kind of toying around with what this looks like. So it sounds a little bit like a cross between Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, where when you get to like the social hubs like Sanctuary, there'll be other real people kind of wandering around, through the city. And they're also going to have things like world events where if you're out wandering the map and just like exploring, there'll be other real people where you can jump into an event, kill like a giant monster, get your loot, and then just separate. And you don't really have to interact with them, but it's something you tackle together, which sounds kind of cool. And they said that in this game, it's going to have like a big map, like an open world map. And not only can you do kind of the mainline story missions, but it is going to have things like side quests and just the ability to explore the whole world where you can just kind of wander around and just, obviously fight guys and get loot and whatnot. One of the other things they mentioned is this game's actually going to have mounts, which I found interesting. So it's going to have fully customizable mounts. And they talked about things kind of like Witcher, where you can put like trophies on your mount and you can customize it and upgrade it. So they said it's a whole nother path of customization in the game. So this is pretty interesting. They're already playtesting it, obviously, at Blizzard. They said they're kind of experimenting with how social to make it and not social, because they know there are those hardcore Diablo players that just want the experience where you're playing either by yourself or with your group. And they said that whenever you're on a mission or you're in a dungeon, it will just be you and whoever you're playing co-op with. So I kind of like the sound of this. I just hope they don't try to make it like a full-on social experience, because I think that would ruin what Diablo is at its core.
I mean, I just want more Diablo. So, as long as they don't. I mean, here's the thing: you've got a proven, IP that works. You know, people play it all the time. They still got all these seasons going on.
Diablo's legendary, man.
Yeah, it's all you have to do is continue to add things to it that, you know, like quality of life stuff. You don't have to go crazy. You know, you don't have to maybe, you know, we'll see what this open world thing is. I love the mounts. It's a great idea. Depending on how they're implemented, I guess.
Sure.
But you know, I just want more of the goodness from Blizzard, you know. So this is what it is, you know. I mean, everybody wants more Diablo 4. I mean, this is crazy. This is going to be an amazing game. I will be playing it day one, wherever that may be. I have no idea.
That's the other big question, right? Is Diablo, if it's like Diablo 3 or going back even further, right? Yeah. It's only PC at launch, so we'll have to see if they do the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to play it wherever the hell it is.
We'll be smashing stuff all over the place. So yeah, it'll be a good time. For sure.
Nick, big. So you know, we talk about Baldur's Gate, Western RPGs, right? Is Diablo in that list for you?
Diablo 1 and 2 are. I could never get into Diablo 3 if my life depended on it.
Really?
Just it never clicked. I can't even put a finger on why. I bought it day one, played it for 15
Diablo
hours.
3 at launch was rough.
I played for 15 hours, and I went, eh. And then like 4 years later, my friend's like, oh, you should get back into it. And then there was all this stuff with it already. And I'm like, oh, what is going on with this game now?
Yeah, the whole game was different.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the game, like Diablo 4. Social aspects is interesting because I do like the aspects of playing with my friends. I think that's a really cool aspect. As you said, like, there's just certain phrases that people use in PR that make me incredibly nervous. Open world design terrifies the hell out of me. Yep. And I like the idea of the mounts, but as someone who played World of Warcraft, I'm also scared of the monetization that comes with those mounts as well. And that's not even a Blizzard thing I'm worried about, because Diablo has always been kind of great in that aspect, but there's been a lot more Activision than there's been Blizzard lately. So I don't want no Activision in my Diablo 4 is basically what I'm saying. But I think with the changes they've made, they've added some people to the team, as everyone knows, like Gears leader Rod Ferguson's now in charge of the Diablo franchise. I think
crazy. Really?
Yeah, like to go from you were in charge of Gears of War from Epic to the Coalition. Now you're in charge of Diablo, which might be one, if not the biggest PC franchise of all time. And there's no one that I know we goof about, we'll play it in like 2023. And Rod Ferguson does not mess around with release dates. That man got BioShock Infinite out the door. He turned Gears of War 4 around and then dropped Gears 5 3 years later. Yeah, and managed to make great improvements on everything going forward. The man is a wizard when it comes to work allocation, maybe would be what I would call it. But he's really good at going, you're really good at this, so you do this, and just getting productivity flowing in a good and healthy way. Because it's really important to note that like Blizzard has a bad reputation for crunch, but there's never been a studio Rod Ferguson has worked at that has been bad for crunch. So a lot of people even said in the early Gears of War days, it was like 44 or 50-hour weeks. So if you can keep your developers healthy and creating great games, I think Diablo 4 is great.
Yeah. I think we have the quotes we need to send to Blizzard. So we've got a combination of keep your Activision out of our Diablo, and we've got more of the goodness. So we pretty much nailed it. I mean, why we're not studio directors, I don't really know.
I would think. That's ridiculous.
Like, whoever doesn't hire Dan to be their PR guy is just more of
the goodness, 2021.
Yeah. I got no time for nonsense. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, this is one of those games. Diablo is one of the few franchises for me where day one, I'll be there. It doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter what it requires. When Diablo 3 came out, is when I built the PC before this one, actually. It was like, I got to be ready for Diablo's launch, built a new PC, done. Sadly, Diablo 3 at launch was a goddamn disaster, but I still played it for hundreds of hours, and since then, it's become a fantastic game, and I've played it for even more hundreds of hours. So I would hope that team learn their lesson with 3. We say that about a lot of developers, right? But I hope they learn their lesson with 3, and we won't see anything kind of crazy at launch that'll ruin it. So we'll see.
We'll see.
We will see. So one thing that I don't think is going to be ruined at launch, segue, is Baldur's Gate 3. I think, we've got Nick on. We got to talk about it. So we've got almost what I would consider, and Nick, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but almost what I would consider kind of the dream developer working on this in Larian Studios. These guys know what they're doing in this vein when it comes to kind of Western RPG design. It looks like they're really diving deep into the D&D mechanics here, which I love, and really kind of injecting that universe into the game. And so everything I've seen of this game, and we got a little more, I think it was a week and a half ago at D&D Live, everything I've seen of this game so far just screams almost like instant classic to me, and a game that I'm going to want to put a lot of time into. So being someone where Baldur's Gate 2 is your favorite game of all time, and you're really kind of, paying very close attention to this, probably more than most. What are your thoughts so far on what we've seen here?
It's actually real. The funniest thing about the whole Baldur's Gate 3 thing to me is like I recorded an E3 prediction episode before E3 2019, and I just took a shot in a pan. I was like, they're going to announce Baldur's Gate 3. And everyone laughed at me, and they're like, well, if there's a studio that you would say would do Baldur's Gate 3, who would it be? Because BioWare would not be an obvious answer anymore.
No, we can't get BioWare from 2008 back. So
yeah, so I just went Larian Studios because Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 are absolutely fantastic games that were well designed and from the ground up. Gave me that Baldur's Gate feel of fantasy and humor and still being dark, and it was just really well balanced. And then at the Google Stadia event of all things, like the only good thing that's come out of Google Stadia is that they announced Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, like this game is hitting all the right notes, and like it's really cool to see, because very often when you see developers pick up a franchise they did not create, you feel like they're handling someone else's work, so they don't want to do too much with it. They want to kind of keep it original. All these guys seem to love Baldur's Gate, but also go, we need to do it in a way that makes sense for us. We can't just simply copy the second game and make it the third game. And I really like how immersive the world they're building. I like how they're doing it their own way and focusing more on like the turn-based style combat and everything else. It's just really unique. And to see people get excited for this game, it's just really cool for me, because this is a game I've been yelling and screaming about on social media since the game came out in like 2002. So like we're heading into early access in August, most likely, for this game. And I think the coolest thing is when they were talking PR, I was talking to the PR director for the game, and I was like, we were tweeting back and forth. I was like, so what's the length of the first chapter? He's like, well, the early access chapter is going to be about the size of Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Jeez, man.
He's like, yeah, it's going to be one of the first massive chapters of the game. He's like, because he's like, the greatest thing about Baldur's Gate 2, and if anyone played the original on PC, that game was 8 discs. that game was 8 discs. And
back when there were CDs at the time, because they only held like 700 megs, right?
Yeah, so they had 8 CDs plus a 3 disc DLC expansion for an ultimate end game as well. And he's like, it's really about delivering what fans want. And like, as a fan, I don't think they could have done a better job in how they've shown this, how clear they're being on the messaging. Like, we've literally got, I think I looked it up. It's like we have like 3.5 hours of footage of this game at this point. I wish more developers would do that. I hate the fact that we're heading into some games and we've got like 2 minutes of gameplay revealed. Developers should feel comfortable with what they're making and be able to show what they're working on. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be massive, because even if you haven't played the old ones, this is a new experience that old fans are going to love, and new people can jump in and be like, whoa, this is a really cool and immersive world.
Yeah, well, and they clearly have confidence in what they're building, which allows them to do that, right? And there's an interesting story for fans of this who about basically how Larian got Wizards of the Coast to trust them with it, because at first, Wizards of the Coast guards this stuff very closely. Mm-hmm. There's a really cool story about how Larian kind of proved themselves with Divinity that they could handle the Baldur's Gate, and that's what that's what got Wizards of the Coast to allow Larian to make a Baldur's Gate 3, which I think is, so it's almost like a dream scenario, right? Which I think is really, really cool. HR says, will this game get Stadia up and going? That's a firm no.
Yeah.
No.
Hard no.
No. You can't place that onus on Baldur's Gate, man. That's not fair.
Well, it's actually hilarious because like I have like the most potato PC of all time, and Baldur's Gate 3, the main director was like, right now we're having a hard time having the game optimized, and right now we can't run it on anything lower than a 2070 Super. And I'm like,
wow.
Okay, so I'm kind of screwballed. I was like, no, I'm not. Google Stadia, baby. I'll sign up for Google Stadia for a month to play Baldur's Gate. I do not care.
Yeah, they're still giving a month free or 2 months free, weren't they?
Yeah,
the whole pro thing. Yeah.
So like, I'll sign up for Google Stadia just to play Baldur's Gate because my PC would probably explode if I even think about it.
Nice,
man. Listen, man, I mean, here's the thing. Larian Studios is amazing. Divinity Original Sin 2 it's one of those games where I play it, then I have to play it some more, and you almost have to start over because you don't remember how to do everything. And, so it's just like crap. Not to go back and do this again. I've started that game like 5 times.
Yeah.
So, and I've gotten pretty far. It's just you get to a point where you're just like, I don't know what it was. Like with Baldur's Gate, in that series, I played that back in the day, and it was so much different at the time than it was anything else. I'm super excited for 3. To Nick's point, I don't know if this PC will run it or not. We'll find out. I'm definitely not Stadiaing it, so we're gonna see what happens. They've been very, very clear with the messaging. It looks like it's going to be a huge game, huge. And it might be overwhelming for some people, for sure, because even without the D&D mechanics, in their last game, Divinity, it was still super deep, super deep, and it's going to be a little bit overwhelming. It's all going to we'll see when it comes out. If it decides to come out with other games around it. I mean, this is one that you need to settle, a couple months aside and just go all in on it. I'm excited for sure. Yeah,
I'm with you, and that's why. So I'm kind of fortunate. I just built this PC this year, and I can look forward to running it. Nick, we don't have a release date for this game, right?
No, it hits early access August 2020, and they said that is a flexible window because of work from home situations.
Sure.
But no, they said it was going to be very similar to Divinity Original Sin 2 in terms of its early access, of you buy it at early access price, and then they work towards getting it to full release. Has something to do with their funding structure, I believe.
Okay.
But
so realistically, this is a 2021 game.
Yeah, realistically, I see this being summer 2021 for them to finish it, I would think. But it also makes me wonder of what the scale of the game is if the early access preview build is the size of their last game. I played Divinity Original Sin 2 later. I didn't play it when it hit early access or anything like that. So I don't know whether the whole game's built front to back when they release it in early access and they just polish it through, or if they add chunks as they go, because I didn't play Divinity Original Sin when it launched. So,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting, though. But it looks fantastic and definitely going to be there on day one too. Assuming I'd actually be more excited if it doesn't come out till kind of mid next year, because if it was coming out this fall with everything else we've already talked about, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
A couple other things to touch on, guys. So real quick, and I don't know where you are on any of this stuff, Nick, but I'm a huge Cuphead fan. We talk about Cuphead all the time, and we did get the Netflix tease of this this week for the animated series, which I think really looks cool. And they just gave us a minute. They showed the Cuphead and Mugman voice actors, and it just looks really fun. So they said it's coming soon. Pretty excited about this one. Love Cuphead, and I'm presuming that we will get the Delicious Last Course kind of look and hopefully release date here at Xbox's event here in a few weeks. You a Cuphead fan, Nick? I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
Probably come out at the same time.
Like my kids are actually even bigger Cuphead fans than I am. Like I have probably at least 100 pieces of Cuphead merchandise because of my kids.
That's
my
awesome.
Kids love the art design. They love the music. They don't necessarily like my oldest daughter's 5, so like mechanically she has a really hard time playing Cuphead.
Sure.
But like we play co-op and she absolutely loves the game. I beat it through. It was one of like beating that game on hard for no hit with the devil just was one of the best feelings in the world. And there's very few games that give you that instant gratification feelings that don't have the word souls in them, and I don't like it. So yeah, no, Cuphead's amazing. The Delicious Last Course is going to be amazing whenever it comes out. And I'm really terrified on what they're going to pack into that DLC since they've had so much time to work on it.
No doubt. Yeah, I think it's going to be bigger than we expect, and I just can't wait. And to your point, yeah, I did I had already beat the game, and I did everything else, like all the unlock the pacifist mode and beat all. I had everything except the expert achievement, and I did a 6-hour live stream for Extra Life where I beat everything else on expert, and it was just one of the most satisfying things I've done this gaming generation. It's so much fun. Do your kids? Do you have the Cuphead and Mugman plushes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. My daughter's got in the room.
Awesome. Because I've literally got 2 extra ones. I've got 2 over there and 2 over here. I'm getting ready to sell, and I would have just sent them to you. So that's good. Dan, I can't remember where you stand on Cuphead.
It's good. It's fun. It's nice to look at.
Yeah.
Dan's like, I would rather punch myself in certain areas.
Yeah, right. If I'm gonna, abuse myself, then I'm gonna do it in a loving, tender way to play this game. So I mean, but I did like your stream. I do like watching it. I think the art style is awesome. I like everything about it except for actually playing it. So let's go.
Well, there you go. So you don't have to play the animated series.
No, it's gonna be great.
Just watch it. All right, our last topic we'll touch on is this was big news this week, and so we don't have to stay on it forever, but the Xbox is shutting down Mixer. And in fact, Vogel in the chat, what's up, Vogel, just said that he's noticing that Mixer's no longer on the Xbox dashboard. So we know that I think it's July 22nd, I'm going off of memory, is the final day of Mixer. They're transitioning to a partnership with Facebook Gaming. And, this took people, I think for a while now, the writing's been on the wall that something weird was going on at Mixer. We've kind of talked about it at various times over the past several months. But this is strange to me, guys, because for a number of reasons. One, yeah, Mixer wasn't competing, right? It wasn't competing with YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at a high level. It just, they weren't putting in what needed to be put in to compete. And so it wasn't growing the same way. And I understand, of course, that Amazon's purchase of Twitch has made them like a juggernaut because of Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime and all those things. But this comes at a weird time because you're getting ready to launch your new console in, less than 6 months, right? Game streaming is growing exponentially. It's bigger than it's ever been, and I think it'll continue to grow. And they're now at a place where they've even said, Phil Spencer said that, or Major Nelson maybe, that no, Facebook Gaming is not going to replace Mixer natively on Xbox. Like with Xbox right now in the OS, you can natively stream to Mixer. It was very simple to do. And so that was really nice for people, but you're not going to be able to do that with Facebook Gaming, at least not at launch. And so Spencer came out this week and said, yes, they want to give players a choice of where to stream. And we posted an article basically saying in so many words, what the hell does that mean? Because you don't have a partnership with YouTube, and Google and Microsoft have this strange history relationship we won't even get into, but you can't stream to YouTube from Xbox. Mixer's going away, and you're not natively integrating Facebook. So you only have one option. What do you mean you're going to give them a choice? Your only option to stream from Xbox in the near future is Twitch. So I don't know what this looks like. I kind of get it from a business standpoint. Mixer was not doing what they needed to for a business. Facebook's a much bigger thing for them to obviously put forth things like xCloud, which they touched on, and kind of the future of, sharing gaming in real time. But I still think this is a shame, and I still think Microsoft could have done something better with Mixer than what just happened.
Yep. I mean, I've never streamed really, and I don't really watch streams, but I really feel bad for some of the partners out there. Yeah. Now I have to, transfer over and kind of restart everything. Hopefully that goes smoothly for them. I hate Facebook with a passion.
Yeah.
I think they're, right up there with the evil corporations of this world. That's,
well, and there was such a backlash, right? There were so many partners and other people saying, screw, I'm not going to Facebook. Like, screw that.
No. And so, I mean, and so basically, it's more of a, like you said, the writing was on the wall. It kind of looked like, there were internal things, from 3 or 4 months back. I don't know exactly what was happening. But they never really made that, the growth was just not there. Even signing Ninja and Shroud and paying all this money, it just failed. I mean, sometimes things just fail, and there's not much you can do. I mean, maybe Twitch was just too much of a powerhouse, and they couldn't, overcome that. I don't know what it was, but it sucks for sure for the partners, but also great for my screen because I don't have to have Mixer on my dashboard.
Before we get to Nick, quick shout out to Tot, who's in the chat. He said, "Hi guys, I'm from Argentina." So that's awesome, man. Welcome. And Cladion as well, 213. Welcome. Nick, thoughts on this, man?
I think the writing's been on the wall. It was going to go down the drain for a while. I've talked endlessly with Dizzy from Lords of Gaming about Mixer's problem of growth.
Yeah.
I think the desperation really started to show when they bought Ninja and Shroud, because I was like, they aren't getting the viewership they need, so they're going to buy talent to come over and hope that the viewership will spread out. But unfortunately, a lot of people went, no, I'm good with Twitch, or I'm going to go to Mixer to watch Shroud and Ninja, but I'm not going to keep using Mixer as a platform. Another warning sign to me was when I'm going to butcher his name here, but Stein, who's now part of the Xbox marketing manager, accessories. He was a huge forefront of Mixer, and when he changed jobs, I went, what's going on here? And then just about a month or two ago, we got the Twitch, or not Twitch, but we got the streaming site analytics from when everyone was stuck at home, and everyone was up by like 60, 70, 80%, and Mixer was up by a whopping 0.3.
Yeah.
And I think that was just the final nail in the coffin. Is they weren't growing. They tried a bunch of different things. Should they have given up on it right before the launch of a console? Maybe not. But one thing that they should have done was given partners a heads up ahead of time. Because the worst part of that is I follow a esports guy named Slasher, and what he was doing is he was part of the group call with Mixer partners. So there was like Goliath and all these guys that were bought to come to Mixer. And basically it was a group call with them, a few Mixer leadership members, and Facebook gaming members. And they basically sat down and went, this is the process you guys are going to go through now. And basically did this like 3 hours after the announcement. So like these guys had no heads up, nothing at all. Like I don't really necessarily feel sorry for like guys like Shroud who are going to go back to Twitch, have a massive audience and be fine. But there's people that may do this as a full-time job that aren't necessarily like massive, media conglomerates, have multi-million-dollar partnerships that do this and make a decent living doing it. They're now going to struggle to bring their platform over. And I feel more sorry for them. And it sucks that Microsoft decided to partner with Facebook, of all things, because if Microsoft had come in and said, hey, we're shutting down Mixer, but if you're a partner on our site, we can get you partnership on Twitch, I think people would be like, yeah, okay, it is what it is. But partnership with Facebook Gaming, I follow a lot of esports stuff. Counter-Strike just got out of a deal with Facebook and said it was the most debilitating deal they'd ever had. Counter-Strike esports, for context, dropped 60% in popularity when they signed exclusively with Facebook Gaming, and they're scaling back up now because they're working with Twitch. There is such a hatred for Facebook amongst my generation. You
calling us old, Nick?
But let me put it this way: is the gaming demographic is primarily on Twitter, and other social media sites I don't use. Reddit, things like that. Like that's where your mainstay stuff. I don't know too many people that go to Facebook for gaming anymore. My personal experience with Facebook gaming and like gaming groups and even live streaming there is not fantastic. So I feel bad for everyone involved, honestly, and it was poorly handled. And I just don't know whose side. And then you had allegations going on against like Mixer leadership, and then they folded like 2 days later. It looks terrible. In hindsight,
you wonder how those. I've said before, I work at a very big company and work with executives, and it's just you don't understand. I can't comprehend how things like that go down. How do you fumble that so badly, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, you had streamers, as you were pointing out, not these gigantic multimillionaires, right? But just people who are partners and stream on a daily basis. And they were having streams where they were just crying because they didn't even know. All of a sudden, it was just they saw a Twitter, announcement that Mixer's shutting down. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Just absolutely absurd that it was handled that way. Walter said at least they didn't sign Dr. Disrespect. As the next
I don't know what he did, but like the fact that they refunded all his Twitch subs and permabanned him, I don't know what he did, but good Lord.
Yeah, something's bad. All I saw was rumors, but someone saying it's not just a stream thing, it's like a full-on legal thing. Like he's going to be in
the one that stuck out to me is someone who reports on a lot of the like Twitch related stuff. He has a lot of community ins. He said, I've read stuff about it, but he's like, until it actually comes out, it's so terrible, I don't want to put my name on it. And I went,
and I don't know. I'll leave my personal comments on that clown alone. We'll just move on.
I'll just call him a clown and move on.
Yeah, I'm moving on. So anyway, let's talk about some things we're currently playing, guys. Dan, I know you actually have a hard stop here in a little bit, so let's touch on some of the new stuff. We had Borderlands 3 Bounty of Blood DLC came out this week. I know with all the news, some people might have missed that. It actually launched right when the Cyberpunk stream was going on, which is kind of funny. So I definitely need to check that out. And if you're interested, I haven't tried it yet. I heard it's kind of rough. But the Crossfire X beta is now out on Xbox as well. I think it runs this weekend. So if you want to check that out, it's out there. But Nick, what have you been playing around with lately? Other than I know we talked about Last of Us 2 and working through that. You've been playing that? Anything else?
Last of Us 2. Been showing my daughter how to play Luigi's Mansion 3, and
awesome.
absolutely forgot how amazing that game is. And Luigi needs to get more shine.
No doubt.
But yeah, no, I've just been trying to soldier through The Last of Us Part 2 for a review and having very hard time unpacking everything. It's very rare. Usually when I do a review on a game or something, I'll have like 100, 200 words written by the end of the game, and then I fill it out at the end. I'm at seeing at like 2,400 words, and I'm only halfway through the game, so I don't know how it's going to turn out at this point.
There's a ton to unpack with that game, especially once you finish it. That's why I think I specifically said in my review, there's going to be a lot more I need to write about on this game. Because it's really hard to separate personal feelings about certain things versus a critical kind of look at the game. So it's tough. But that's cool though. Cool about Luigi's Mansion. I got a little ways through. I never finished it. But it is a really cool game. And you're right, Luigi does need some more attention, I think, in that regard. So, nice. Dan, what you been up to, man?
Basically Last of Us, man.
You're on your second playthrough.
Not even halfway. Just going to platinum it and then probably come back do it again once we get the upgrades to the PS5. I want to see what it looks like then because it looks amazing right now. Short of that, I downloaded a couple of Game Pass games. Observation, I haven't played it yet, and Nightcall. And
I looked at Nightcall too. Yeah,
I started playing that for literally 5 minutes, and then I got sidetracked and I had to go do something. So, that's basically it. It's been sucking the life out of me.
Well, Last of Us, for the people who haven't finished it, like we were talking about earlier, Nick, it's an incredibly long game. It is far longer than Part 1 was, and it can just take a lot of time. And if you want to platinum, funny enough, Bad Bits said he's platinuming it today as well. You can't do it in one playthrough. You actually have to play it again. Not all the way, but it takes a long time. So, Yeah, I finished it after you and Bert did just the other day, and I actually took an extra day of just thinking about the game before even sitting down to write my review because I don't know, it's crazy. We're gonna have a spoiler cast on The Last of Us 2 here in probably next week or two, where we're gonna really kind of talk through that game. So that'll be a lot of fun. Me personally, I need to go back to Doom. I know we touched on Doom earlier. Nick, you're a big fan. I'm a huge Doom fan. Started Eternal, and I don't know what happened. I got into other stuff, and I was doing the site redesign, and I just got distracted, and I haven't finished it. So I need to get back to that because I know for a lot of people that's up there as one of the best games of the year. And it's Doom. It's chaotic and craziness and everything awesome about crazy first-person shooters.
Yeah, and we get single-player DLC eventually this year, too. There's supposed to be 2 standalone DLCs for that game in 2020. So.
I had forgotten about that, yeah. And I had the freaking collector's edition for that. So, I might want to finish the game before the DLC comes out. But I'm looking forward to trying Bounty of Blood as well. It's supposed to be the biggest expansion for Borderlands 3 yet. New planet, new legendaries, characters, town, all that stuff. So definitely be hitting that up soon. All right, guys. I think, man, it's been a fun conversation. Nick, we're going to do this definitely more often, man. So I've told several guests that you're obviously a longtime friend of the show here, and we'll definitely be doing this again. Native, what's up, man? You're getting out right. Native, you're stopping in right when I'm about to close out here. But good to see you. So Nick, let's hear from you, man. What do you want to shout out before we
go real quick? Adam Badger, I don't know if you're in the chat, probably not, but I was giving away the 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh yeah,
that's who won it. Adam Badger from Davenport, Iowa, apparently. Great. If not, I'll hit you up I'll hit you up somewhere. Twitter probably.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him in the chat unless he goes by a different screen name I'm not aware of.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
Okay. Cool. Well, good. That's awesome. So, Nick, where can we find you? What are you working on? What do you want to shout out before we kind of close out here?
You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI, where I share a lot of my articles, what I write, what I do, and everything else. You can find all my written work at lordsofgaming.net. And you can also find my own show on the Gaming Perspective channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. And I do that show with Eric Jackson, Sagan Tolbert, and Jared as well from lordsofgaming.net. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, the only person we haven't had on now is Sam, right?
Of those 4, yeah. Actually, we had Jared on a long time ago, back when it was the 3 of us. And Eric we had on 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So yeah, pretty cool. So awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Nick, man. It's been a lot of fun. Lordsofgaming.net goes without saying. I think we talk about them every week. We're just close with those guys. Great site, great guys. So awesome stuff. This week, so my Last of Us 2 review is up. It went up yesterday. A lot of great feedback on it, so thank you guys very much who have checked it out. That's on the site. We've got a new article coming from Patrick shortly, who's Elu in the chat right here, talking about details that go into creating games like Last of Us 2. Should be a very good one. He's a fantastic writer. We're going to be doing a Last of Us 2 spoiler cast soon, like I said. And I also want to just give a quick shout out, and I know some of the guys in the chat right now have contributed to this, and you as well, Dan, on the Iron Lords podcast last week in a giveaway. But we had a very nice donation amount that I gave to Special Effect and Able Gamers yesterday from Season Gaming for merch sales. So, we do that. It kind of, as we sell merch and shirts and whatever and not, 50% at least goes to these partner charities that we have. So I sent those kind of monthly donations over to those guys yesterday. Got a message directly back from the director at Special Effect this morning, actually. So it's just awesome, man. So thank you guys. Anyone who's bought merch from us, thank you so much. Dan, awesome giveaway on Iron Lords last week. So as always, Dan, anything else to call out?
No, I'm good. I am going to my daughter's graduation party here shortly.
Fantastic.
Hoping there's not a lot of people. So.
There's going to be hundreds of people, and no one's going to have a mask.
That's.
I was going to say, at least it's consistent, Dan. You always would hope there's not a lot of people. So
this is true. So, all right, guys, chat. You've been awesome as always, man. Thank you guys for stopping by. This has been Bitcast 111, and we will see you next Saturday. Cheers.